Stone with a closed fist. Gets a yellow card. The first we've seen tonight. There's a lariat from Stone. Wait, oh, Kincaide is up. Kincaide has powered up. Stone hasn't seen him. Spear, pin him, Leroy. Kill this cancer before it has a chance to spread. Come on. Kincaide is up. He didn't have the energy in him to pin Martin Stone, but you got to think he'll find it if he can. What? That's Iestyn Rees. Why is Iestyn Rees here? Kincaide jumps, lands hard on top of Rees. Why is Rees out here?
Kincaide took too long on that second spear, and now Iestyn Rees is here, and Moralez and Redman.
Referee tried to let it go when it was just Rees, but now what's going on? It's Redman, Moralez, Rees, and Stone. Leroy Kincaide did not let go of his opportunity. It was snatched from his grasp by Iestyn Rees, Joel Redman, and Dave Moralez. But why?
That's what happens with British wrestling, Dave. False dawns. We had a false dawn. And like I said, bigger things are afoot.
No. You're not telling me Martin Stone is the leader of this faction. Don't tell me it's Burridge is saying no. Darren Burridge will not tap.
It is only in times of great war and tribulation that many of us find out who we really are.
Moralez, 350 pounds, 20 stone or so, hard on top of bubblegum. That's an injured abdominal.
For in those moments where all has been lost, the true nature of a person is never clearer.
British wrestling is dead. It's a fossil, like you, like your career, and like everything you've ever represented.
Some will do the unthinkable and commit the unimaginable to protect their own interests, while some take the weight of the world on their shoulders, ready to fight the most formidable of adversaries with only one saving grace to keep them going: hope.
How ironic that Stone would want to beat him in a traditional way.
It's futile!
Stone with that mantra of the agenda. Resistance is futile. Oh, Kincaide rolled him up. Kincaide has got him caught. Kincaide, Leroy Kincaide wins for the resistance. Oh, Stone doing a number on Kincaide. Here comes Shane, here comes Johnny Storm. The entire FWA locker room emptying out again.
Ladies and gentlemen, who are in the match? For the resistance, the leader of the resistance, Leroy Kincaide!
Against all the odds, Leroy Kincaide rolled up Martin Stone and won a vital victory for the FWA and a vital victory for everybody involved in British wrestling.
Other men tried to forge order from the ensuing chaos and capitalize on the anarchy all around. For they know in their heart that only a very small number will stand up to oppose real evil when it finally reveals itself. Yet when that day comes, and a hero steps forward to lead his people to freedom, underneath the nobility and honor is one simple truth. What drives both sides in this battle is something that ultimately cannot be shared and is only for the victor: glory. For the time is almost at hand for all men and women to pick a side in the final game. For the war to end all wars is about to begin for real. FWA presents Hope and Glory.
FWA is Europe's most exciting wrestling promotion. Be part of the British Wrestling Revolution by going to www.fwauk.com.
Tonight only, this is Hope and Glory! Wolverhampton, welcome to the FWA! Very quickly, we have a special rule system in the FWA, in that a referee will present a card upon giving a wrestler a public warning. A yellow card will be presented on the first public warning. A second card, a red card, much like in football, will be presented on the second and final public warning. And from there, a wrestler will be automatically disqualified by the official referee. In a tag team match, only the individual will be disqualified, and remember, the pile driver is banned. Ladies and gentlemen, are we ready for the opening contest of the evening? This is a triple threat match set for one fall. Introducing first. Ladies and gentlemen, going to the ring at this time is representing the leaders of the new school. From Cambridgeshire, weighted tonight at 30 stone, this is Marty Scurll.
British wrestling is under attack from a mysterious and powerful enemy. So tonight, in Wolverhampton, the stars of the FWA must stand up against those who would knock them down and prove that the UK is still a land of hope and glory. Dave Bradshaw here at ringside alongside Kris, the Truth Lambert, and we are starting out tonight with a big triple threat match.
And ladies and gentlemen, introducing the next competitor.
I know you look across the street in the indie record store thinking something that won't be done, thinking there's something more.
From Retro Pop and coming from a nightclub near you. Winning tonight at 12 stone, this is Super Styling Sam Bailey.
Well, FWA Art of War, we certainly saw some hope for the resistance when Leroy Kincaide won that 8-man tag team match. And we certainly saw some glory in the fact that he won. But as Marty Stone said, that result in the overall scheme of things did not mean anything, because this may not be a war the resistance can win. We will find out tonight at Hope and Glory.
Final competitor in this triple threat match. From Project Eagle and the centre of his own interest, winning tonight at 13 stone, this is Kris Travis.
Well, as you say, Gregor, a big night ahead for the agenda and the resistance. So let's give this match the respect it deserves. And three members of three of the top tag teams here in the FWA, each with scores to settle against each other. And to be honest, aside from the fact they're in a tag team, three of the finest young talents in the country.
Well, that's right. Kris Travis representing Project Ego, Sam Bailey from Retro Pop, and Marty Scurll from the leaders of the new school. It's bound to be an exhilarating matchup.
Well, all three of those tag teams you just mentioned were at least entered into the FWA Tag Team Title Tournament, which is ongoing. The final quarter-final of that tournament coming up later tonight. Two of the three teams represented here have been eliminated. Only Marty Scurll's team, the leaders of the new school, have qualified for the semis, beating Kris Travis's Project Ego at the Art of War in controversial circumstances.
Controversial, absolutely.
It looked like Scurll had a handful of trunks.
Well, there was no look like, Dave. I mean, I've reviewed the tape and there's absolutely no doubt whatsoever Marty Scurll cheated to defeat Kris Travis, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Well, again, Travis continuing to have beef with Scurll over the end of that match. He's talking about the trunks already. Scurll and Travis don't want Bailey getting involved. So a bit of a tiff here.
I can't believe this argument's still going on. It was 2 months ago. They've obviously been thinking about it. And wounds run deep, Dave.
Well, Bailey just sent careering to the floor. As these two just absolutely insistent on continuing this feud.
Sam Bailey out here right beside me, and not in a good way. He's taking a bit of a bad landing, and immediately we're going to see Scurll and Travis go at it.
A hard kick to the abdomen from Scurll, followed by a shoulder block. Scurll is instantly going to the ropes. Travis with the leapfrog. Scurll to the ropes again. And Scurll telegraphed it. Travis went for the kick. And a slap across the face. Some real bad blood here. Bailey back in now. Bailey controversially losing, taking the pin for his team. Retro Club against Northern Exposure in their quarter-final at the Art of War. Very controversial circumstances there. He may win it here, though. Crossbody only 2.
Well, this is the kind of fast-paced action you'll see in the Frontier Wrestling Alliance. Always like to start fast on these FWA shows, and certainly we're seeing an exhilarating, as I said before, an exhilarating pace at the start of this match.
Arm drag from Travis, and now got that. I'm trying for an arm bar, trying to hyperextend the elbow. Scurll and Travis continuing to argue. Believe it or not, despite the fact that they were disagreeing over the end of the match, they did actually shake hands at the end of that match at Art of War. Obviously, it looked like they'd made up, but clearly not.
Well, you know, Project Ego may be the ones with ego in their name, but I think egos are running wild for both these young men.
Kick from Bailey. Bailey doesn't like being ignored.
I'll tell you something, if Travis and Scurll can't get their minds on winning this match, it's going to play right into Sam Bailey's hands.
Oh, Bailey was going to try and dive through the ropes, did a kick to the head instead, and now a neck breaker from Scurll.
Well, that's Travis's foot played right into Sam Bailey's jaw.
Attempted leapfrog. Travis didn't get all of it, but he got all of that. A backflip arm drag, a kick to the side of the head. Goodness.
Almost like a modified Spanish fly on the canvas, a somersault Japanese arm drag there.
Seeing some real aggression from Travis here, the kind of aggression he was showing when he was so angry at the result of that match. You know, Travis and his tag team partner Marty certainly like to break the rules, but I was surprised that they couldn't take it as well as they give it, so to speak.
You know that result of that match where Marty Scurll cheated to beat Kris Travis, would you call that a travesty?
No.
I would call it a travesty of justice.
Because I'm not 12 years old.
What do you mean?
Playground humour. How long did you spend thinking that one up? Yeah, okay. Scurll trying to get in to break up the pin. Of course, it's triple threat rules here, so a pin on either of your opponents enough to win the contest.
I tell you what, it's been 2 months since that match which Kris Travis lost, eliminating Project Ego from the tag team tournament. As I say, he's probably dwelled on that result for 2 months, but he's also been spending that time, look at this, oh, nearly got the win. He's also been spending that time in the gym, Dave. I mean, have you ever seen Kris Travis? He looks like he's been carved out of marble. What shape this young man is in.
Travis certainly very well put together, as is Scurll and Bailey for that matter. It's unlike you to give Travis a compliment. It's almost like the moment he starts breaking the rules, a couple of eye rakes, suddenly he's your best friend. I just appreciate effort. I appreciate it when a young man has clearly learned from the mistake that he made, which cost Project Ego the tag team tournament. And okay, yes, he may have dwelled on it, but he's taken that anger and he's channeling it. You know, I always talk about channeling anger. Travis missed the height. Here's a bulldog from Bailey. Travis rolling outside, you were saying.
Yes, he's channeled his anger. I mean, Bailey, I'm quite impressive here too. He's picking his spots rather well. He's allowing the, beautiful Hurricanrana. He's allowing the issue between Scurll and Travis to work in his favour.
Wait, Scurll is lining up Bailey. Scurll off the opposite rope, and Marty Scurll between the top and middle ropes takes out Sam Bailey. A death-defying move from one half of the leaders of the new school.
Well, that was impressive. You know, there's nothing really to play for other than the lion's share of the paycheck this evening, Dave. I mean, leader of the new school, the only team represented in this match who are in the semi-finals of a tag team tournament. But you wouldn't have thought that with the way that Marty Scurll just hit that amazing somersault plancha dive.
And Scurll always leaves it all in the ring whenever he's out there. Scurll going for the suplex. Look, Travis, don't know what happened there, but Travis landed on his feet. Scurll went for a super kick, got him in the chest.
Didn't get all of it. No, he didn't.
Still looked like he may have knocked Travis out enough for the 3 count if it wasn't for Bailey's interference. Lightning fast action in this opener at Hope and Glory.
Don't you think that Sam Bailey is performing so much better without that nincompoop Dave Rain by his side? He's looking far more cerebral in what he's doing.
Certainly almost got a victory there. There's a 2 count. I don't know what you've got against Dave Rain. I think Dave Rain's fun.
Yeah, but he holds Sam Bailey back, and you've seen tonight, Sam Bailey's coming to this match with a definitive strategy. He's picking his spots, he's hitting and moving. He's capitalising on the situation that's...
Well, we've often speculated...
between Travis and Scurll. Oh, what a move there from Travis.
Spinning neck breaker from Travis. I was going to say, we've often speculated that Dave Rain's maybe taken one too many hits to the head. Well, Bailey took a real stiff kick to the head there. Travis, oh my, how close was that?
This crowd here at Wolverhampton getting behind Sam Bailey, right.
It's a roll up from Bailey. Bailey's so close to getting it. Oh wait, hang on, Travis has he's got a
Texas pin.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is your winner, Kris Travis.
Well, Kris Travis, unless I'm very much mistaken, just pulled Sam Bailey's tights.
Well, that's true. I mean, you might say that Kris Travis might be slightly hypocritical by complaining about what Marty Scurll did to him at Art of War, but he's turned the tables, done the exact same thing. I mean, I would say that's more learning from it. He learned from it, Dave. I mean, I'm impressed with Travis this evening. He's done a good job.
Sorry, you couldn't say a good word about him, and then he uses the tights, and suddenly he's off the guy, just shaking hands with him now. You're unbelievable.
I'm impressed by somebody who learns from their mistakes.
Well, Bailey and Scurll
intelligent wrestling, Dave.
You're right. No, I'm gonna defend what you were saying a moment ago. He is a hypocrite. Travis is a hypocrite. He complains. He complains for 2 months when Scurll uses the trunks to beat him. And yet suddenly, as soon as Travis does it on Bailey, it's all okay.
So what does that make Marty Scurll? He's complaining. Look, if you can't take it, you shouldn't dish it out, Scurll.
Well, lots of unresolved issues between Scurll and Travis and now Bailey as well. That's nice. I like that. Sam Bailey giving me a little gift. Little headband. It's retro.
You look like the lead singer at the time.
Victorious once again, superstar Sam Bailey and Marty Scurll.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest set for one fall. It is a singles match and it is part of the special round-robin tournament to declare the first ever FWA Flyweight Champion. Now for those of you keeping track of the tournament, Jonny Storm enters this match replacing Bubblegum, meaning that technically he will only have one more match after this in the round-robin tournament. He is currently on 0 points. His opponent, RJ Singh, enters this match. This will be his final match in the round-robin tournament. He enters with 20 points. Now introducing the competitors.
Shut your mouths.
Oh, God.
Quiet on the sets, that's what he's saying.
Saying RJ Singh has 20 points, having won one of his 2 previous matches here in the Flyweight title round robin tournament. This is his last chance to get points on the board, and if he does not win tonight, Greg, he will be mathematically unable to claim that championship belt.
That's absolutely right. And you know, this is a really make or break for both men, I would say, because the wonderkid Jonny Storm got into this tournament through the back door. He's on no points for that reason, so he's got to win. Both Singh and Storm have got to win, Dave. There's no two ways about it.
RJ Singh with certainly a colourful history in this tournament so far. A very controversial win against Ligero in his first match. And Ligero getting a measure of revenge, costing him against Rockstar Spud 2 months ago at the Art of War. Issues between Singh and Ligero are far from over, I would say. But tonight, the Bollywood dream, the self-proclaimed movie star, needs to focus all his attention on the Wonder Kid.
His opponent. He hails from a dip, wins tonight, and that's all, ladies and gentlemen, the international wrestling star, British Gold, the Wonder Kid, Jonny Storm!
Well, here it is. Here he is, Dave. The Wonder Quid himself, Jonny Storm. The Merchandise King.
Oh, Singh's gone straight after.
Singh's gone after
Storm. Smashing his face on the steel barrier, the crowd barrier here. The music's still going.
Our backstage guys still don't even see what's happening. Oh, Storm has taken out. Wait, who's he taking out? It's the director. He's taking out the director. Oh, no, it's Adil Khan. He's taking out Adil Khan. There's the director. The director's striking Storm. Oh, and that was a mistake. The mistake last time at Art of War when he hit that female security guard as Spud. Storm is chasing the director into the ring.
You can't do this. You cannot touch the man who's in charge of the set.
Singh has now got Storm caught. Well, I thought the bell had just rung. Just slam across the face.
Yeah, but that's not illegal because he hit his own man.
Well, referee Lance Lenehan is sending the director out of here, and not before time. He's done plenty in the past few months to merit a permanent suspension from ringside. Singh charges Storm. Quick cover from the Wonder Kid. Got two. Storm only just having his first match in this tournament. Didn't qualify after a highly contentious defeat to Spud. There's a driver, a Michinoku driver.
Well, that's got to be the original plan that RJ Singh had gone out of the window.
The moonsault from Storm goes for the cover. He's got two again, and this time Adil Khan. Adil Khan grabbing the leg. Already ridiculous levels of interference from Singh's Bollywood entourage. Sorry, I was going to say, Storm only just entering the tournament. As I said, he didn't qualify thanks to Rockstar. Spud is a boot in the ribs from Singh. Then, of course, thanks to the forced retirement of Bubblegum at the hands of Dave Moralez, there was a vacancy in the tournament, and Jonny Storm, by beating El Ligero at the Art of War, able to qualify and take Bubblegum's place in the tournament.
So let's get this straight then, Dave. So far, we have RJ Singh on 20 points. Rockstar Spud on 20 points, El Ligero on 20 points, Jonny Storm on 0 points, because like you say, he took over Bubblegum's points, and he had none, because he lost.
Bubblegum had one match in the tournament, it was against Ligero, and he lost.
And he lost it, absolutely. So we still have in the tournament 3 more matches. This one, and then Ligero v Spud later on tonight, and then I guess Jonny Storm versus the Rockstar.
Which should be interesting.
A date to be announced. But you're absolutely right, is that if Singh doesn't take any points from this match, he cannot mathematically win. And that's why, no doubt, the director would have been massively important to his overall strategy. And this controversial referee returning to the FWA, Lance Lenehan, oh my word, has made a real important call here. It could knock Singh out of a tournament.
With a face buster. 2 can only from Storm.
Let me tell you something about Lance Lenehan. Last time he was in the FWA refereeing, I mean, look at him, what's he doing now? He was going for his card there, no need for that. He was a referee, and he quit the FWA and sided with All-Star, and I sacked him. And he had to beg me to get his job back. And now he's back again, and he does that. We're trying to make, you know, these football referees with the big egos, trying to make a name for themselves with the big calls, trying to get the attention on them. That's what he's doing.
I think Lance Lenehan's a very well qualified person to officiate this match. He was a bit of a villain when he was a wrestler himself. Certainly savvy to the tactics he can expect from Singh, and we've already seen from Singh and his entourage so far. There's a cover from the Bollywood Dream. Storm gets that right shoulder up. This one's going to continue.
That's the newspaper headline making Bollywood Dream to you, Dave Stats Bradshaw. You should know about this, although you do work for a substandard publication. Daily Star gave a full-page interview with RJ Singh just last Friday.
Yes, they did. Singh, very much the self-publicist. He's already been on the front page of several local newspapers, and we've been doing FWA shows.
I applaud self-publicity, being a media man myself.
The applause slightly muffled by those effeminate leather gloves you're wearing again. But anyway, Singh sending Storm to the opposite corner. Storm middle rope, bounces and hits that drop kick. It's that cat-like agility of the Wonder Kid that's made him such a success in British wrestling over the past, decade and a half nearly.
Jonny Storm, the only reason Jonny Storm, the so-called Wonder Kid, wants the Flyweight title is so he can create replicas and sell them for a few bob.
running into Gurry. Storm, I think he may have knocked Singh silly. Singh could be out of the tournament here, but he just kept in by getting that left shoulder off the ground.
I can't believe Johnny Storm still calls himself the Wonder Kid. The Rockstar Spud is the new Wonder Kid of British wrestling. He says so, and when he says it, then he means it, and I believe it.
Storm catching Singh with that back elbow there. And a backcracker from RJ Singh. Wow. You can tell both of these guys know what's at stake here. We said how Singh would be out of the tournament. The same is true for Storm. Given that he has no points in the tournament, he pretty much has to win both of his matches, both of the chances he has left, either by pinfall or submission, to have a realistic chance of claiming the gold.
Well, that's only fair after he backdoored his way into the tournament in the first place, after originally being eliminated from it. But I'll tell you what, this is such an impressive match. This is two of the very best in Britain. Really,
oh goodness,
desperate for the victory.
Super kick into the jaw. Singh is out cold. Singh is out cold. And not only that, but he's out of the tournament. Oh, no, he's not. No, he's not.
He wasn't far away, though, Dave.
Well, say what you will about either of these guys. I've had some pretty harsh criticism of Singh, and for good reason, in recent months, but he's certainly putting on a performance here. Have to be on the top of your game to have any chance against a competitor the likes of Johnny Storm.
Listen to these fans. They're getting behind the Wonder Kid that was, the Wonder Quid that now is. And I think it was almost all out of spare change then.
I tell you, the margin of error in this contest has been absolutely just minimal, absolutely minuscule.
This could go either way. This really, I mean, obviously it will go either way, but at this stage, I really couldn't possibly put a wager on who's going to get this, but now...
Well, put your money on Singh. Look at this, the camel clutch.
The camel clutch. You saw him apply this to El Ligero. You'll see it in the opening credits on our online TV show, FWA Frontline, every Thursday at FWA YouTube channel on FWAUK.com. And I think Storm is going to go the same way as the mass Mexican sensation did and pass out.
Well, Storm may have to quit if he can't get to the ropes. He started to wriggle there, and in the process, Singh has lost some of that leverage he had, that back not arched properly. He's still got the chin lock applied, but Storm is wriggling his way towards the bottom rope, and yes, he's there.
Johnny clearly desperate. He knows the interval's soon, and he's missing out on vital T-shirt sales.
Behave yourself. Do you get kicks out of being so disrespectful to a man who's given so much to British wrestling?
He's the Wonder Quid.
One of the most successful stars of his generation is what he is. He was going for the Wonder World there, Singh countering with the spinning heel kick.
He's never seen an 8x10 he never liked.
Cover, Singh has got that smug grin on his face, so he did for a second, he thought it was over.
RJ Singh looking at, they see the pace he's getting to RJ Singh, and he's supremely conditioned athlete that he is. Oh, that's generous. That is very benevolent of RJ Singh to use the water to revive his opponent in the heat of battle.
Oh, Adu can't grab... Well, can't grabbing the leg of Storm, and now Lance Lenehan is throwing Khan out of here as well.
Hey, this Lance Lenehan, the referee who got thrown off a balcony in front of 3,500 people at Coventry Sky Dome 5 years ago.
Yes, he did.
Well, he's obviously still suffering from post-concussion syndrome. I mean, what's all that about? He's thrown the director out. He's thrown Adil Khan out.
Well, it happened right in front of you. How can you possibly deny that Khan didn't just cheat?
That's the heat in the Wolverhampton Civic Hall. I'd say it's getting hot in here.
In the meantime, it looks like...
He's steamed my glasses.
It looks like Storm's hurt his ankle, maybe. Oh, no, he hasn't! No, he hasn't! Wonder World from Storm! And Storm wins it! Storm wins it!
Oh, no.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match, the Wonder Kid, Johnny Storm!
You know what that means, don't you, Dave?
Yes, I do. RJ Singh, the Bollywood dream, the most delusional man in India, is not getting any gold in the flyweight division anytime soon.
He's out of the flyweight tournament. I don't believe it. The Bollywood dream has turned to a nightmare for RJ Singh. And Storm's still alive. Only just, but he's still alive in the flyweight round robin tournament. What an absolute ridiculous situation.
Well, Jonny Storm with a vital victory. Well done, sir. Congratulations. Storm saying on his way out that he's now just one win away from flyweight title glory, but look what's going on inside the ring. Adil Khan. No, I don't condone what he was trying to do, but a little earlier on in the match, I thought he looked a little reluctant to cheat earlier. Now look at this. Singh blaming Khan for the defeat. He's crying. Come on.
Adil Khan has clearly ruined RJ Singh's best laid strategy.
Singh is livid. Look at the look on RJ Singh's face. Oh, this is degrading. Adil Khan, he's a young kid. He was following Singh's orders. Singh is the mastermind here just because his stupid plan didn't work.
He's going to be relegated to mucking out the elephants now. And RJ Singh's the next Bollywood movie. If he did trip Jonny Storm, he should have done it when the referee was distracted. And he clearly wasn't.
RJ Singh, I've never seen him quite this angry. Look at him. The realisation is dawning on the Bollywood dream that his dreams of winning the Flyweight Championship have come to an end tonight in Wolverhampton Civic Hall. Well, Greg, a really remarkable match in the flyweight division there, and of course as a result of that, RJ Singh now mathematically unable to possibly win the flyweight title. A lot of action going on here, almost sold out in Wolverhampton. I say almost, because there is one man who is conspicuous by his absence, ladies and gentlemen. Robbie Brookside, British wrestling legend, was supposed to be here tonight. He has a seat reserved, but as far as I can see, the man who looks like he's sitting there at the moment certainly is not Robbie Brookside. That looks like Gilligan Gordon.
I think he should show more respect to gentleman Gilligan Gordon returning to the FWA, and I think all the fans in Wolverhampton should show him respect too. You want to talk about Robbie Brookside and why Robbie Brookside's not here? Well, I'm sure if you watch FWA Frontline, you will have heard the harshest of harsh words that Martin Stone had to say to Robbie at Art of War.
Well, the absence, at least so far, of Robbie Brookside, just one of the many reasons we have a lot of intrigue here tonight. We still don't know who Leroy Kincaide's tag team partner is going to be in tonight's tag team main event against Martin Stone and Dave Moralez of The Agenda. And what has Doug Williams got to say? If you've been following us online, you will know he has promised to unveil a conspiracy that will shake the wrestling world to its core. That's all coming up later tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, we had a situation at FWA, the Art of War, a situation that needed to be addressed and could only be addressed by one individual. The individual I'm about to introduce right now. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the FWA's head of content, the former British heavyweight champion, the one, the only, Mr. Alex Singh!
Well, this is, again, unexpected, a real sense of deja vu. It was about this time at the last FWA show, the Art of War, that Alex Singh made an unexpected appearance here in an FWA ring. On that night to announce that Doug Williams mysteriously had his travel plans changed and wasn't able to attend. Now, if Alex Shane's out here to address the crowd, you've got to think he has something very serious to say. Let's hear what he has to say.
Well, I just want to say first of all, Wolverhampton, you having a good time tonight so far? It's a lot of your turnout. I'm impressed with the turnout.
Listen, for people that were here at our last, well not here, but our last big show, The Art of War, I was here with a sort of special announcement, and that announcement was to talk to you about a cancellation we had on the show. Now, I understand that we're in a recession, so to spend any money on anything is difficult right now. To spend it on professional wrestling, you've got to be committed to what we do, so we have to be committed back to you. We've had a situation which means that we've had a change to the advertised card, and I want to sort of explain to you what's gone on. For those of you who are new to the FWA, hopefully the videos that we've made for you have brought you up to speed. We have a big storyline here, and we say it's a storyline because really it's become a situation where art has imitated life and life has imitated art, and some of our guys have got into two different factions. We have the Agenda and we have the Resistance, okay? The Agenda is led by the FWA World Champion Martin Stone, and the Resistance is led by Leroy Kincaide. Okay, now, Martin Stone was supposed to be teaming today with Dave Moralez, and Leroy was going to sign for a mystery tag team partner for the main event. Now, last week we made wrestling history. We announced the biggest show that we've ever done. It's a show that takes place on November the 13th. It's called European Uprising, and it's on the 5-year anniversary of the tragic death of Eddie Guerrero. All the tickets for this show are free, and the idea is we're going to start up a trust fund for injured and retired wrestlers in the UK. We're also working with some companies in America. It's a bit like... Thank you. It's a bit like, I feel a little bit like a taller version of Bob Geldof at the moment, because we've teamed with a company in America. We're hoping they do the same. Tragically, a young man was killed a couple of weeks ago, wrestling training. Another one of our brothers, or sisters I should say, Luna Vachon, died recently. Yesterday, tragic news. So this event is a big deal, and there are certain big companies in the world of wrestling, you may watch them on TV, who, as much as they take a lot of money from pro wrestling, don't really give much back. Now, there is a rumour that Martin Stone signed with that company. Some of you may have heard that rumour. We announced on Thursday that we were doing European Uprising. On Friday, I get a call from Martin Stone to tell me that he had emergency knee surgery and he can no longer wrestle for the FWA. This is the truth. So I basically wanted to say, listen, Martin will not be in tonight's main event. I'm very disappointed, but before we talk about that disappointment, I would just like to say something about Martin, personally. Martin started in the FWA
hang on a minute, Greg. Martin Stone, the FWA World Heavyweight Champion, is out. He's out on crutches. This is the first I've heard about some surgery.
Keep your adulation about me to yourself. I don't need it from you, mate. All right? Anyway. Now, at this point in time, yes, my wrestling career in Britain is done. You know, I was scheduled to wrestle here tonight in the tag main event. And you know, I wish I could say, I'm sorry that I can't perform for you guys, but I'm not. I am not going to risk myself for you lot. You know, you got this ugly big tooth retard in the front row trying to get himself over. Why would I wrestle for that? Because at the end of the day, if any of us injure ourselves, you're the first one to go, oh, what's next? Next match. You don't care, so why should I care? Why in America was the fact that your parents didn't keep the afterbirth and throw the baby away. Now I'm here for one thing, Alex. You know, the Agenda and the Resistance has gone back and forth. All these shows, Art of War, everyone's turning around and saying, so, is it true? Is it a rumour? Is it fact? Is it fiction? At the end of the day, I ain't going to tell you. That's my business. But what you have to look at, Alex, and everyone's sitting here, is if British wrestling is on its big upheaval and its big resurgence again, why are you in the small hall and not the big hall next door? You know, a piss pop show, a piss pop promotion that I've worked on. They run that hall, and they got 500 people. It's more than we'll see tonight. So you want to be the forerunner. You want those three initials, the FWA, to be the forerunner in bringing back British wrestling to its heyday, to Wembley Stadium or whatever it was. Yeah, right. And then you wake up. You see, what you have to realise, mate, is that you have done a lot for this industry. You know, I'm the first person to say that. And I have scraped and clawed and fought my way to this position. I was one of your bitch security guards. Wow, you've got a brain cell, you twat. But you know, Universal Uproar, the big super show at Sky Dome in Coventry. I was in the ring with you against Mick Foley and a Sandman. What a privilege and what an honour. You ran the King of Europe Cup. How many people can get 16 promotions to work together? But it ends there, mate. Because where's the industry now? If you're that great at running super shows, if you're that great at doing it, why are we here? Why are we in the small venue compared to the big room next door? Why is it that all British wrestlers are still wrestling in front of 50 to 60 people? Figuratively speaking, of course. You are a loser. End of discussion. I appreciate everything you've done, but it stops there, because this industry in England is going nowhere. And I wish that someone as intelligent as yourself could see that. So was your mother last night. On the flip side, mate, you have dreams, and you're a dreamer. But do one thing, actually do it. You know, this man used to live in a penthouse, 5-room penthouse, and now I heard you're in a shoebox in Dagenham. I'm sure some great places that he lives in is the exact places where you all live. Clap all you want, but I'm sure with a recession you're all going to lose your shit houses anyway. So at any point you want to insinuate that this ain't legit. You know, I love this business. This business of pro wrestling is what I love. You know? And I do love it, but I don't love you lot. I hate this place. Keep doing it, go on.
Looks like Alex Shrem just got himself a microphone. Now, Martin, listen, I have to say some stuff, man. Ladies and gentlemen, you've just witnessed a very powerful magician use his magic spell to try and do to me what he did to Robbie Brookside at the Art of War. You dig up things which you think are going to embarrass me. You bring up things which you think I should be ashamed of. Well, these people, I might be incorrect, but I think you guys came here to see some wrestling, right? So, I'm going to give you your wrestling, but if you give me 3 minutes of your time, I think verbally, someone's got an arse that needs to be kicked. Is that right? Now, Martin, I am not for 1 second insinuating that your injury isn't real. However, let me point this out, okay? British wrestling may be at the bottom of the pile as far as you're concerned, but without it, you wouldn't have signed that contract to go to America.
Who says I've signed?
Oh, well, apparently the internet says it's real, so it must be real. And apparently, you've had a family member pay for your surgery, so someone thinks it's real, didn't they? Okay, so, without British wrestling, where would you be? I'll tell you where you'd be. You'd be at Dropkicks Wrestling School, or you'd be on the dole, okay? Here's the situation. Let me explain this. You know what? TNA offered me the job to run Europe, and I turned that down. And I turned it down so I could go to India and teach underprivileged kids how to wrestle, and that's the truth. So maybe that makes me a loser. But something tells me, by your standards, I'm not the only loser in this building. And in fact, Martin, I risk breaking my neck, and your brothers and sisters risk breaking their neck for this business. And the person who the internet says you're going to work for hates this business and distances himself from this business every single time by calling it wrestling. So yeah, that does make me angry, Martin. And let me tell you one more thing. Maybe, just maybe, when I got offered the job in India to train Bollywood movie stars, I should have stayed there with the luxury apartment I was offered and the chauffeur. And do you know why I didn't? Because I can justify living on the street in a luxury apartment where other people were starving and couldn't afford to eat. So I came here to start a revolution. And the revolution is happening now. So, you know what? Maybe, by your standards, I'm a loser. And maybe, by your standards, I'm a dreamer. But something tells me I'm not the only one. John Lennon, smart man. And in case you're wondering where that came from, that comes from the film Independence Day. I can also do, Mother, Mother, get out of the house, Mother. See? Two of us can ramble on a microphone. The difference is, Martin, one of us can be entertaining. So I'm going to end it like this. I'm going to end it like this. I believe, like I said, you are the best wrestler in this country right now. And I believe that just as you stood on that turnbuckle and raised your arm to the audience, you're going to do that in America. And you're going to do it in front of tens of thousands of people. And you will have the camera flashes going off. And you will have a load of people that don't know you, like you. The difference is, they like you because they don't know you. The people who like me because they do know me. And all the money in the world can't buy that! So, I've told you how your immediate future's going to be, but let me tell you how the not-so-distant future's going to be. You see, when those bulbs break, and when that money dries up, the industry leader, who I hear you're going to work for, has proven that once you're done with them, it all ends the same way. You won't have the cheers, you won't have the money, you won't have the best of DVD. All you'll have are your memories in a trailer, and you'll be alone. 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 Because these lot believe in the revolution, Martin. And son, it seems like you are alone.
So if I'm the magician, you're now all chanting what he wants you to say. Think about that. Alex, what you have to realise is that I ain't alone.
Well, that's Moralez and Rees and Redman, the agenda, are out here. Oh, Shane's out here on his own. Well, Stone, the World Heavyweight Champion, may be on crutches, but these three certainly are. And they are surrounding British wrestling legend Alex Shane.
This is a slightly worrying situation this day.
Stone is... Hang on a minute. That's the Kartel's music. Kartel's music is playing. They start standing on the very face of the Kartel. Reinforcements have arrived for the resistance.
I get up on a show day, jumping a David Gower. When I saw you were out here, I spoke to Ligero and Spud and asked if we could take their place, and if the Kartel could take
on the agenda right now. And the last time I checked, that's up to the FWA head of contact, Alex Shane. So what's he going to be?
You know, I'm not psychic, but I think I can speak for everyone in this building when I say, I accept. Referee, let's start the match right now.
Alex Shane has brought forward this tag match, a quarter-final in the tag title tournament. We were expecting it in the second half.
I might as well, not bother with this format, Dave. I might as well just throw it away, stick it in the incinerator. I've no idea what's going on here. That was powerful.
Well, we weren't
powerful
expecting
stuff.
Alex Shane out here. We certainly weren't expecting Martin Stone. Well, the words between those two. We'll talk about that as the night goes on. That's going to be talked about for a while.
That was intense.
So Terry Frazier, Sharp Samuels, the Kartel, they've come out here. Samuels saying they spoke to Ligero and Rockstar Spud, who are the next scheduled match out here. With their blessing, they're going to have this match now. Rees and Redman aren't ready for this. They're looking a little shell-shocked.
I'm not ready for it, David. I'm Rees and Redman. It's meant to be Spud and Ligero next.
Oh yeah, throw out the format, a night of mayhem at the moment here at Hope Glory.
I mean, that is actually a very good point, though, Dave. I mean, Iestyn, Rees and Joe Redman have not prepared. They wanted a bit extra time. They were expecting to be wrestling in the second half. And then the blooming Kartel come charging out here, taking the law into their own hands. And we got ourselves an FWA Tag Team title tournament quarter-final match right now.
Frazier with repeated uppercuts on Rees. Said he looked shell-shocked. Look at this. It's all Frazier. The Kartel, those East London boys doing a real number here. This is a guy, Iestyn Rees, a guy who that big company in America we keep talking about. They love him, right?
Of course they'd love him. I mean, look at the guy's physique. I mean, you know the big companies in America like guys who are 6'5" plus, who are built like Adonises, who are tanned, who are good looking, and you've got the Sultan of Suave there, Mr. Smooth, Iestyn Rees, the James Bond of British wrestling. I mean, what's not to like for these big American companies?
He's not looking so suave now, is he? He's getting an absolute beating. Samuels with a double axe handle across the back. Yeah, this is your big star, right? Getting pounded in the corner. That suplex from Samuels. Rees gets out at 2, but looks like a man who doesn't know what's hit him. Redman looking concerned on the apron. Didn't know Redman did more than one facial expression. I thought he just did angry.
Well, there's so much going on here, Dave. I mean, you've got the heated rivalry here between the Kartel and Joe Redman, which has gone on for a full year here in the FWA. You've got, you know, the obvious fact that they've got the Kartel are on the side of the resistance, duelled with Rees and Redman at the agenda at Art of War. That war is still continuing. And then you've got what happened out here with Alex Shane and Martin Stone, two opposing ideologies, two opposing viewpoints, lifestyles, philosophies, ideologies, call them what you want. Butting heads here.
Big boot to the face from Rees on Samuels.
And then that seat you were talking about before, it is now empty.
God, I don't know where to look. There's action in and out of the ring. Yeah,
Robbie Brookside's seat, it's now empty. I mean,
yeah, Gilligan Gordon was there earlier. He's not there now.
Gilligan Gordon, who used to manage Rees and Redman, turns up here, does the vanishing, all that magic spells. Gordon's gone. Shane and Stone's not here. He's meant to be wrestling. He's got a knee injury that comes out of nowhere. You know, I like to be professional. I like to be prepared for these things, Dave. I mean, it's just like, it's chaos. There needs to be order. There needs to be order, Dave.
You're a little highly strung. I know it's a dramatic situation. Try and keep your ridiculous sunglasses on your head. Rees launched into Samuels, and well, having said that Rees was taking a beating, now seems to have got his way back into the match with a little help from Redman. Well, let's talk about what is at stake here. Aside from the personal rivalry, this is a quarter-final match, the last quarter-final in the tag title tournament. One of these teams will join the leaders of the new school, Northern Exposure, Sticks and Malin in the semis.
I don't think you could call this a wrestling match at this point. This has just been a fight since it began.
You know, I want to mention something about the Kartel. I want to mention something about the Resistance. I want to play devil's advocate, as I like to do with this situation, because I don't necessarily disagree with either side. I can see both points. I can see aspects of certain views. You know, do you think that the Kartel really believe in the British wrestling resurgence? Or are they just siding against the agenda because they know in their hearts that they don't have what it takes to make it in America? I'm just throwing that one out there.
I reject the premise of your question, Greg. Why on earth is it the be-all and end-all to go to America? It's not the pinnacle of the industry. It doesn't have to be. We used to lead the wrestling world in this country. We could tie up the West End with traffic going back for miles. We outdrew the FA Cup final on the same day with wrestling in this country. We have a proud heritage, and it can come back.
Well, that's true, but everything you've said is past tense, Dave.
That's why we're here. What we're trying to do, we're trying to make it the future.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I mean, look, me and Alex Shane, you know that Alex Shane and I are closer than a lot of, you know, I'm closer than a lot of people to Alex Shane, and when he says I start a revolution, it's stirring words, and that man has done more than anybody else. What's going on here?
Well, while you're busy singing your own praises, there were yellow cards flying around there. Rees got carded, and then I think a closed fist from Samuels, he got carded as well. Hang on, referee has called for the bell. This one has broken down.
He's throwing it out.
There were yellow cards going around, and referee Kris being shoved out of the way. Fraser and Redman are still going at it. Samuels is jumping on top of Redman. This isn't a wrestling match, this is a bar fight now. In come referees and officials.
Chaos again, Dave. Like I was saying, absolute, unadulterated chaos in Wolverhampton.
Look at Fraser trying to get a few extra shots in on Redman. Redman being pulled away by some of our security guys here, British Wrestling Council trainees, having to lend a hand to our referee. God, this is insane.
The war between the agenda and the resistance. Passions are running high here.
Redman is still trying to get it. Samuels. Fraser is being held back by referee Kris Roberts. He's kicking trainees. There's going to be some fines running around here if we're not careful. Maybe suspensions as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee has disqualified all 4 individuals. The result of this contest is double disqualification.
Still separating them, a double disqualification. Goodness knows what that means for the tag title tournament. Presumably both teams are eliminated.
Both teams out, yes. I would guess so. Who knows anymore? I don't know what's going on round here.
Well, Rees and Redman have finally been removed and are up on the stage. Look at the look on Fraser's face. Oh, hang on, wait. Fraser has broken free.
I have no intention of getting involved in the East End brawl. I'll tell you that, Dave.
Well, this is a typical Friday night for Samuels and Fraser, but Rees and Redman don't like it. Referee Kris Roberts is trying to regain control of this situation. Well, it looks like the agenda have retreated to backstage, but Samuels and Fraser, who knows how long they're going to be kept apart. Presumably they're still going to be in the same backstage area in a minute.
Come on, get them out of here. I'm losing my hair here, Dave.
This has got to be one of the most chaotic nights we've ever seen anywhere in British wrestling already. We're only halfway through.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, they may be eliminated from the tournament, but nevertheless, let's hear it one more time for the Kartel!
So the Kartel and the agenda both eliminated from the tag team title tournament.
Listen, I've got a few things to say before our next contest. First of all, unfortunately, we seem to have lost phone contact with Robbie Brookside. As you can see, his chair is still empty. We're still hoping that he'll be here. But we had a few attempts to contact Mr. Brookside. Unfortunately, we haven't seen him. All right, hopefully he'll be here.
Now, earlier tonight, we had the announcement of European Uprising. It will take place on November 13th. Now, one of the things that hasn't been mentioned is the fact that during that day, we will host the first ever British Hall of Fame. And of course, the whole event will be in honour of the legendary Eddie Guerrero. Now, some of you fans... Oh, sorry, you'll be chatting the same thing. Some of you fans might remember an amazing match Eddie Guerrero had on these shores. It was against one Doug Williams. And at this point tonight, speaking of Mr. Williams, he was going to come out and he was going to talk about some kind of conspiracy involving the world's top promotion. I'm not too sure what that was. But unfortunately, we've lost contact with Doug Williams as well. Now wait a minute. A couple of weeks ago, Mr. Williams was interviewed by a Daily Star reporter, Patrick Lennon. And Doug Williams apparently said to Mr. Lennon that if something was to happen between then and now, he invited the Daily Star to be here tonight and explain why Mr. Williams isn't here. Now, we're not entirely sure what that means. Patrick Lennon was here this morning. He arrived, but he chose not to come out during tonight's event and explain what happened. But he did drop off a DVD that hasn't been viewed yet, so perhaps we could shed some light on what this situation is all about.
Hello, my name's Patrick Lennon and I edit the Fighting Talk page in the Daily Star newspaper, as some of you may or may not know. Now, Doug Williams approached me a little while ago saying that he had something to say, that he had a message for the British wrestling fans. Doug was nervous about this message, but he said to me that if I hadn't heard from him 48 hours before the Art of War show this weekend in Wolverhampton, that I was to deliver this message to you. Now, here we are, it's 48 hours before the show, as our lovely publication shows us here, and here, as promised, is his message. I was approached 4 months ago by a representative for a group of international businessmen. She explained to me that they were in the process of taking over the world's largest wrestling company. She told me that the group that she worked for had already convinced the owner of the company to float it on the stock exchange, and that as a result they'd not only bought a large number of shares under the guise of a multimedia company that they owned, and that this also weakened the hold that the owner would eventually have on his own business. The next stage was to engineer several events in order for this company to lose fans and viewers in not only their domestic market, but also their large overseas markets too. I have no information as to what events exactly were going to be engineered to cause the company damage in the USA. However, I was given very clear indications of what would be taking place here in the UK. Action would be taken via plants in the company that would see them fire former top UK talent who are now contracted for no apparent reason, while signing up new top UK talent from smaller British rivals in order to build up anger towards the US giant. The other method that I was told would be used was the mimicking of certain UK storylines and possibly characters to further increase the anger of key members of the UK and European scene. These key members would eventually be approached by the same people who approached me and offered deals. In the cases of those who would not first agree or were considered uncorruptible, people pretending to be fans or allies would come forward and offer financial support or suggestions of ways to get back at this US giant. With the help of these businessmen's friends in government, they would eventually wage a media war against this US company to destroy its market share in the UK. They also told me that a huge event would be staged in order for a big UK business to be demonised by the US press so that the UK press could do the same in return once the plan is in action. I could not help but remember these words during the recent oil spill. Once this UK market share was damaged badly, pressure would be put on the company from its shareholders, and during this upheaval, their chosen plant inside the company would offer a solution that would be allowed to work wonders, thus proving to the shareholders that this new leader was better than the old one. Once this was achieved, they would gain overall control of the company. It is important to note that this group are not wrestling people, and they explained that they saw wrestling as a far more powerful tool for media infiltration into the minds of the young than anyone gives it credit for, mentioning at least 2 presidents whose campaigns were massively helped by this method. They also said that the owner of this company had realised the exact same thing and was slowly but surely putting family members and those he could trust in positions outside of wrestling, such as international telecommunications or politics, in preparation for a far bigger plan of his own. It was also explained to me that plants had been put into several big rival companies in the US to prevent them from keeping their momentum or being a serious threat to the industry that they'd already infiltrated so heavily before this plan was complete. They will use the engineered events that they spoke of to raise huge media concern about the industry and its safety standards. At which point, they will legislate pro wrestling through the courts so heavily that no one will be able to promote it outside of the company that they own. I would not be told what my role would entail until I accepted their offer. The money I was offered for this was way in excess of anything I could ever make in pro wrestling. However, I turned it down, and for 2 reasons. Firstly, part of me felt that this was a rib or a test, and I didn't want to get caught out. Secondly, despite our meeting being professional and pleasant, I couldn't help but feel uncomfortable about the whole thing. I was then given a payment for my time and was told that it would not be looked upon favourably were I to tell anyone about what I was privy to. I agreed, but over the last few months too many things have happened to make me feel what I was told was untrue. We have seen many of our top talent drop for no reason and new ones signed, seemingly to spite our domestic companies, including the top stars for both the FWA and All Star. I have also witnessed FWA storylines being used in the world's top wrestling promotion. I have also seen their rivals' momentum knocked massively by people claiming they were there to help. I feel that elements of this may have also factored into the reasons I was unable to return to the UK for the Art of War show. This is why I've come forward now, even though I am legitimately fearful for my safety. I have handed this message to a respected member of the national press in the hope that this will safeguard my security. I hope you can understand why I felt that it was extremely important to make public, as if this is all true. It has huge ramifications for all of us, and not just those involved in pro wrestling. So reads Doug Williams' statement. I've read it out word for word, as I said to him that I would do. Now, I'm sure you agree there are some elements of that statement which seem a little bit far-fetched, but I know for a fact that Doug is taking it very, very seriously. Thanks for listening, and thanks for reading. Keep up with the FWA on a Friday in Fight and Talk in your Daily Star. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest, it is an FWA Adrenaline Guest Match, a 6-man tag team match, no less. Introducing first.
six-man tag match. Am I dreaming? Or did I just hear a message from one of the world's top wrestling stars saying he's uncovered a worldwide conspiracy to infiltrate the wrestling industry worldwide?
I think, well, the bits of it that I could actually hear above this audience,
ladies and gentlemen,
I would say that's exactly what he was saying.
this is the team of Angelus, Moralez, and Marty.
So more of our stars from Adrenaline Pro Wrestling on their way to the ring. I'm sorry, I'm trying to give this match some attention. I can't get over what we've just heard. The ramifications of what Patrick Leonard from the Daily Star just said. We couldn't hear all of it, a very raucous crowd here in Wolverhampton tonight. But just from the bits I heard, that will shake the entire wrestling industry to its very foundation. This isn't some nutjob. This isn't some paranoid conspiracy theorist who thinks aliens shot JFK or Area 51 is a place in New Mexico. This is Doug Williams. Doug Williams, a trusted veteran in the wrestling world, saying that there is a global conspiracy involving all of the major wrestling companies on this planet.
I'm just, I don't know, I'm just trying to digest some of what Patrick Lennon said. I'll tell you, the first thing I will say is that if what Patrick Lennon said is to be believed, then Patrick Lennon is an extremely brave man for saying it, even if it was on a pre-recorded DVD.
Well, you can understand now why Patrick Leonard, even though he was here earlier, didn't want to come out to the ring and say that. If this is true, we don't know who's involved. There could be people here in this building tonight who have links to other wrestling promotions around the world who are somehow part of this. No wonder Patrick Leonard wanted to do that in a pre-recorded message.
I don't know, a lot of it did sound quite far-fetched to me. I'm not sure.
Greg, look at the evidence, right? Doug Williams suddenly misses 2 FWA shows in a row, fails to show up. That's not like Doug Williams. Suddenly, Martin Stone, on the day we announced European Uprising, the biggest show in FWA's history, has mysteriously had knee surgery and is no longer able to compete for the company. While there's rumours flying around that he's signed for the biggest professional wrestling company in the world. You've got Nick Aldis, Brutus Magnus, a TNA star, Doug Williams' tag partner, coming out here on Art of War, implying the very same thing that Patrick Lennon just said on behalf of Doug Williams. The evidence is mounting up and up. I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all, but this is getting weird.
Well, it's like I said before. Patrick Lynn would have us believe that there are people planted within various wrestling organisations around the world to try and further an agenda, if I may use that term, of a group of international business people who aren't wrestling people. They've nothing to do with wrestling at all, but they're trying to infiltrate the industry for their own ends, and they're tied in with the biggest wrestling companies of the world.
None of, from what I could gather, none of whom know that they're being infiltrated from within. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, we're not meaning to disrespect this match. Nick Riley in the yellow trunks, that arm lock on textbook great countering, but I don't know what to make of what we've just heard. I don't know what to say. Breaks to the ropes. Riley with a top kick takes down. Young textbook superstar from the House of Pain Academy in Nottingham. I say he's a superstar, he's not one yet, but he was on the winning team at the recent BWC Expo. First of its kind, and you've got to think that as one of the country's top trainees, he's got a very bright future indeed, as does Riley, as does the man he's facing now, Axel Rage.
XWA Adrenaline, we saw the pre-show earlier today, the young stars of British wrestling are trying to break out. These 6 guys in the ring right now, I hand-picked and selected from their performance earlier today to come out here and get an opportunity at FWA Hope and Glory. They better take it, they better not let me down, and that includes my man from the XWA who's in the ring right now, Axel Rage, the Scurll Scholarship winner, the UK Student of the Year, and this guy impressed me earlier today, Max Angelus from Nottingham.
Angelus leaping over the ropes with an arm drag. You know, I'm just looking on the rope, Danny Chase there in the corner is wearing one of those British Wrestling Council wristbands, and one of the things Patrick Lennon was saying during that recorded message, Greg, was that there are storylines being stolen from the top company in the UK, which presumably is the FWA, and being used in the biggest wrestling company in the world. It's something we mentioned at Art of War as well, but black and yellow wristbands and an agenda that goes further than anyone knows. Where have you heard that before?
I think the next thing you'll be telling me is that Dynamite Dave Fury is an alien from the planet Zog. I mean, it just seems a little convoluted and bizarre for me. I mean, okay, Doug Williams, by the sound of things, he is here, but I mean, it could be that TNA have just extended his schedule again, legitimately, like they did last time. Doug Williams is saying, if something happens to me, this message will self-destruct in 48 hours. If something happens to me, read this message out. I've uncovered a conspiracy.
Greg, listen to the evidence. Listen to what you've just heard.
Goodness gracious me, are there going to be crop circles in the middle of the Wolverhampton Civic Hall next?
Can you not just take off the blinkers, take off those ridiculous sunglasses that you're wearing at night time for some reason, and think what's happened? Bell's rung here. Unlike David Fury, he's snapped, he's choking out Angelus.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dynamite Dave Fury has been disqualified, therefore eliminated from the match. The match will continue.
Alright, so the match is going to go on. David Fury is out though.
I said before, at XWA Adrenaline this afternoon, that Dynamite Dave Fury, you know, he channels the spirits of his hero, the Dynamite Kid. The Dynamite Kid had a screw loose, and so has Dynamite Dave Fury.
Sorry, I'm not done with this. I'm not done with what we were talking about before. I'm sorry again to veer away from this match, Greg, but how can you possibly say that this is some kind of whack job idea, you know, nut job idea? This is, look at what's happened. Look at everything I just listed at the start of the match here. The things that have gone on here in the FWA.
Look, listen, I'm willing to believe that there are certain aspects of that, of what was said, that may be true.
No, you're
stealing.
not.
No, stealing.
No, you're not. You're
stealing.
scared.
No, listen, I'm not scared. Listen, right. A major wrestling company steals ideas from a smaller wrestling company. That's happened before. That is well documented. It's been in Power Slam magazine. That can happen. A major wrestling company puts members of its family in high positions in order to gain further control around the globe. That's happening right now. I can see it. It's been reported elsewhere. I can understand that. But are you trying to tell me, for example, that those two incidents are linked in some way, and that Doug Williams has uncovered all this because he was offered money to be part of it?
The fact that you're trying
to preposterous.
Well, no, the fact that you're saying it's preposterous, the fact that you're ridiculing the very idea is exactly what everyone has done throughout history when anyone has had an idea outside of the box. That's why no one believes any conspiracy theorists. Everyone is just palmed off as being crazy. What if some of this is true?
Well, do you know what?
It's a typical cover-up.
I've only got one thing to say to you, Dave.
What?
I shot JFK. Go on. I shot him. It was me. I did it. I'll hold my hands up.
You're doing it again.
No, seriously. It wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald. It wasn't the guy that, you know, was everybody, you know, that all the physical evidence proved were in the Texas School Book Depository, or whatever it's called. I did it. Go on. I'm holding my hands up. It was me.
How much research have you done into that? I mean, we're getting off point. How much research have you done into it? You're just ridiculing doing something without any knowledge of it. And the reason you're doing it is either you're deliberately trying to cover it up, or what I think is that you're scared. You're scared of the consequences.
I'll tell you what happened, right. For Patrick Lennon to come on that DVD and say that, and if it was true, then he's absolutely stupid.
Why?
You know, if all this is... Patrick Lennon would put himself at risk like that if there's a bunch of international ruthless businessmen behind this. I mean, if that was true, they'd be capable of anything, and Patrick Lennon's willing to put his neck on the block. Of course he's not. Of course he's not. He's doing it because he wants the exposure. He wants to try and steal my thunder as the #1 wrestling journalist around here. That's the only reason why he's done it. He's got a pathetic column, page column every week, where he tries to put himself over, and he's going to try to put himself over here again today. And speaking of putting himself over, a great move by Danny Chase. You're distracting me from this match. You're getting me angry about all your mumbo-jumbo and your nonsense.
Unbelievable, you are. Absolutely unbelievable. Meanwhile, referee is given a yellow card out. I'm not sure who that was to. Stevie Aaron's going to confirm it, I think, as Dave Breaks goes for the cover.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Breaks has received a yellow card.
Yellow card for Dave Breaks.
That's textbook Dave Breaks. Everything he does is textbook. Like a textbook arm takedown there.
I'm so angry at you, I can barely speak. I can't believe how narrow-minded you've been.
I'm not saying that it's all 100% fabrication. A lot of it, like I said, is true. But plants, I mean, okay, so Dave Breaks is a plant, is he?
Say again.
Dave Breaks is a plant. Could Dave Breaks be somebody who's in on this big conspiracy?
Know he's not? I mean, there's no... I don't know what to believe. Like, when someone like Doug Williams says this stuff, it adds an air of legitimacy to it. Does it not?
I think Doug Williams has landed on his head on one too many chaos theories.
Doug Williams isn't someone who's particularly illogical, particularly unconventional in his thinking.
Doug Williams is, I mean, it's possible. Oh, look at that for Danny Chase! Oh, amazing dive from the ropes. Listen, Doug Williams, it's possible he could have come up with this whole stupid, you know, hocus pocus himself because he's embarrassed that he's not here in Wolverhampton as advertised. He's probably broken his fingernail and he can't travel from Orlando.
Well, last time he wasn't here, it's because his other employers in the United States stopped him from coming, changed his travel plans at the last minute. We don't know why he's not here today. We do know he took the time to tell a national newspaper journalist.
He's probably out on the razz with the Nature Boy.
You know that's not Doug Williams just as well as I do. Exactly what, you know, you're doing it again. It's a character assassination of anyone who expresses a view that you're afraid might be true. Here's Max Angelus, taking out Axel Rage, the winner of the 2010 BWC Scurll Scholarship. And one of these guys are fired up as well. They know what the implications are of what they just said. Just moments before they step through the curtain for one of the biggest matches in their career so far.
Oh, what an amazing boot there from Axel Rage. Goes for the clothesline. Nick Riley. Max Angelus. We're seeing tremendous action here. This is wrestling.
Just two. Angelus had the leg hook, but in comes Breaks from behind.
It's not the X-Files, Bradshaw. This is professional wrestling, and we are seeing no conspiracy here. We are seeing guys trying to win a wrestling match.
And what we're seeing right now is a cross-faced chicken wing. That's Dave Breaks' favourite move. He's made so many other trainees in the British Wrestling Council tap out to that very hole. Max Angelus is in real danger here, but he managed to have the awareness there to back into his own corner and break the hold.
Here we go, textbook baby. And that is a textbook Northern Lights.
Breaks, one of the most accomplished technical wrestlers currently in the BWC system, a real student of... Oh, there's a moonsault! That's a moonsault from Nick Riley. Riley from the Devon Wrestling Association.
And Riley with a point to prove because he lost to Dynamite Dave Fury during the Adrenaline pre-show. Whereas Axel Rage was victorious at Bon Jovi with the super kick, which he's tuning up right now.
Rage went for that super kick, got blocked by Riley. These guys have wrestled a couple of times before. Great move by...
The Lamb Magic he's got him with it!
Great move by Riley, like an abdominal stretch into a slam. Axel Rage landing on the back of his head.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are your winners. The team of Danny Chase, Nick Riley, and Max Angelus.
Bradshaw, that is the future of British wrestling there. That is FWA adrenaline, and if you believe what Doug Williams says, the future is cloudy. The future is clouded in intrigue and mystery. I'm here to tell you that in British wrestling, in FWA adrenaline, the future is now.
Well, the wrestling world has been turned upside down, at least to my mind, in the past few minutes. But if there's one thing that does still make sense on this entire planet, it's a quality wrestling match like what we've just seen. 6 of the finest trainees currently in the British Wrestling Council system, putting on a hell of a show tonight in Wolverhampton at FWA Hope and Glory.
They did me proud. That's all I'll say. I made the right decision. I chose the right. I chose the right 6 guys there.
You're probably getting a kickback from somewhere, are you, if they get signed to a big American company?
It's Patrick Lennon who's getting the kickback, nobody else. I'm telling you that now. He probably got paid to make that DVD.
Rage is in a rage. Referee Mike Fitzgerald. Well, a hell of a 6-man tag there, Greg, to start our second half tonight, but we are still very much reeling from what we heard on that message on the video wall from the Daily Star's Patrick Lennon. Obviously a very raucous crowd here tonight. We didn't hear everything he said, but if I heard him right, Greg, we've just been talking about it here on commentary, a worldwide conspiracy involving some of the world's biggest wrestling companies, including the FWA.
It's Jonny.
Listen, the only conspiracy is why Doug Williams isn't here tonight. And he probably paid off Patrick Lennon because he's too embarrassed to show himself here in this pit called Wolverhampton.
Meanwhile, more intrigue, as you just saw. I think our camera's just got another shot. That seat reserved for British wrestling legend Robbie Brookside still remains empty. We've got a couple more matches on tonight's show, but it looks at the moment like Brookside won't be here. Still a lot more questions than answers as we continue. Let's take it back to Stevie Aaron in the ring.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would like to introduce you to your special guest ring announcer for the next contest. He is head of FWA production. He's also the host of FWA's world famous Frontline, introducing Mr. Len Davies.
You know, we have a lot of great talent behind the scenes who make these FWA shows run like clockwork, but none of them deserve more credit than Len Davies, our senior producer behind the scenes, and this is why the FWA, to my mind, has the best production values of any independent wrestling promotion on the planet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall and is a part of the FWA Flyweight title round robin tournament. Introducing first.
Well, I was leaving time for our ring announcer Len Davies to introduce El Ligero there. Obviously he's going to wait till both guys get in the ring and, well, we await the arrival of Ligero's opponent. There's that scary, scary security woman
Now, we talked earlier about Luna Vachon, who sadly died yesterday, one of the most scary women in wrestling history. Well, this young lady may be in the top 3.
I'll tell you what's not scary though, Bradshaw. What in fact is actually quite glorious. The entrance on the baby Jesus of British wrestling, the Rockstar. And hold on, look who else is here. Look who else is here. That's that girl, the groupie, I guess, for one of the more respectful terms, who by causing a distraction at Arnold 4, arguably won Rockstar Spud his match against RJ Singh. We were backstage afterwards. It looked like they made maybe an item now. I don't know what's going on, but Spud's not even giving her a second glove. It's love's young dream, Bradshaw, that's what it is. It's heartening. It's like Robbie Williams and Gary Barlow getting back together, that's what it is.
Bizarre circus and his Rockstar Spud and his entourage over here. A security guard, I don't know the name of that. Must be called Spud. You're an investigative journalist, and you were talking to Spud about this young lady. Hot social gossip.
Absolutely, yes, I have uncovered. I mean, let's face it, listen, I'm not into, as you've realised already this evening, I'm not into tickles. I'm into hard, fact news stories. I'm not into all this, OK magazine, P magazine nonsense that goes on, but, yeah, her name's Melanie, she's from Manchester, she's a big fan of the Rockstar Spud, she's followed him around the British wrestling circuit for quite some time. And, I mean, some people call her a rat. I mean, I think that's a little bit unfair, a little insulting. I mean, look at her. She's a very attractive young lady. I think the Rockstar Spud's done very well for himself. What is she seeing?
Ladies and gentlemen, on my left, currently holding 20 points in the tournament, in his final of 3 matches, weighing 11 stone and hailing from Los Santos, Mexico, he is the Mexican sensation, El Ligero! And on my right, also with 20 points in the tournament, but on his second match of 3, weighing 9.5 stone, hailing from Birmingham, Rock City, he is the Rockstar Spud!
Well, Len Davies getting more than he bargained for with his ring announcements there.
You asked the question, what does this young girl see in Rockstar Spud? I'll tell you exactly, I'll tell you in 2 words. She sees the package.
I'll tell you in 2 words what she might see. Potential champion, because after what happened earlier on, RJ Singh now mathematically eliminated from the tournament. This is a great opportunity for either El Ligero or Rockstar Spud to take a commanding lead and be within just really in touching distance of winning the flyweight title. Both of them on 20 points. The winner of this one, if they win by pinfall or submission, will be on 40 points, and that will be a pretty much unassailable lead.
Are you trying to say she's a gold digger?
I'm just saying.
Because she ain't messing with no broke rocker. That's Rockstar Spud. He's not broke.
Why don't you stick to your Kajagoogoo and your Duran Duran or whatever you were talking about a few shows ago?
And he's fluent in Mexican too. Multi-talented, the Rockstar Spud.
Well, does Ligero go for that Arriba catchphrase of his? The crowd joining in, but Spud taking advantage. Spud was trying to communicate with Ligero. Obviously, not the best Spanish student in school. Or did he go to school? I don't know.
So let's work out the permutations. A pinfall victory for either El Ligero or the Rockstar this evening would put them on 40 points, and that would put them in pole position in the tournament. It would also mean, I guess, that Johnny Storm could do no better than tie at the very top of the round robin table and earn himself a playoff should he beat the Rockstar in the last match of the tournament. I would be right in thinking that, wouldn't I?
Yes.
Yes, Greg, that's what you're trying to say, yes.
I think that's right. Ligero is trying to follow through, and Spud jumping into the crowd. He's so afraid of getting hit by this high flyer from Mexico.
All this talk of plants has really clouded your judgment. I tell you know, does that mean that Spud's a plant?
But I'm not.
Well,
I'm
obviously a Spud is a plant, but you know what I'm trying to get at.
You're being ridiculous.
Are you trying to say Spud's a plant?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not going into this anymore. Let's focus on this match. You said your piece. You're obviously completely blinded to any possibility, any train of thought that isn't your own. So let's just move on. What's the point?
I told you,
it's like having a conversation with a brick wall.
There's substance in a lot of what was said. I need to go back and watch it again though, because the crowd were drowning out most of it. They obviously don't believe it's a conspiracy.
There's an interesting dynamic here. You're right. When that DVD was playing out to the crowd here, some of them didn't really understand what was going on. Some of them wanted to get straight back to the wrestling. There were a small number of people though who looked
because they
as
don't
intrigued
believe
as we
it,
did.
Dave. They don't believe it. You come out here and have us believe that society today, people just go along blindly without questioning things and without asking why and without delving deeper beneath the surface. But you know the reason why? Do you know the reason why they don't do that?
Fear. Meanwhile, we've got another attempt at communication
there is nothing under the surface. That's why. You need to take things at face value is what you need to do, Dave. That's what I've always done, and look how successful I am.
Yeah, who do you write for again?
I write for Power Slam magazine, which incidentally, issue 194 is out in all good newsagents right now.
But, yeah, Power Slam, all right, I'll grant you that one. Who else do you write for? I thought you were one of the best journalists in the country. Presumably you're working for multiple publications, are you?
I don't work for the Daily Star, that's for sure.
I write for Fighting Spirit magazine, by the way. I just don't go on about it. But
I think it's hilarious and actually quite ironic that a man who writes for a newspaper that puts Big Brother on the front cover is coming out here talking about his conspiracy theories.
let's not talk about it. You're obviously got some. I'm hitting a nerve whenever I talk about it. Why bother? I don't want to upset you anymore. Ligero backflip into the corner. Spud is looking confused, as well he might.
Well, we noticed the last time we were here for FWA at Art of War, the growing popularity of the Rockstar Spud. You know, the fans actually have a little bit of taste when it comes to that. I'll give him it, but Ligero very much still a fan favourite tonight.
I was going to say, I mean, you've got to bear in mind that Spud was against RJ Singh, one of the most obnoxious and egotistical characters in the FWA. Ligero's upside down again.
RJ Singh, who is now horrendously eliminated from the Flyweight tournament. I had him as my favourite, and I'm absolutely gobsmacked by that, I have to say. And the fact that Jonny Storm's still in it when he shouldn't be.
What are the odds, Greg, that a prediction you make didn't come true? Wow, I am shocked. Spud, meanwhile, is... Well, we seem to have come to a little stalemate here. Spud is trying to sneak towards Ligero. Sorry, come on, that didn't work at all. Rana from Ligero with that lucha libre influence that he's grown up with. Covered by Ligero, only gets two. Look, we talked about what an opportunity this is. We haven't talked about what is at stake in the case of defeat. Obviously, Spud has another chance to score some points, but Ligero, much like RJ Singh earlier, would be mathematically eliminated from contention if he were to lose this match. Referee has a count going. Lance Lenahan up to 6. Spud stalking around the ring.
A count-out victory would give Spud 10 points in the tournament. Put him on 30, he'd still be in the driving seat.
As you said, Greg, everyone else on 20 points. Now Jonny Storm The importance of that victory earlier can't be understated. He's now on 20 with another match to go. He could still potentially finish this on 40, which could be enough to win the flyweight title.
You know something, some people accuse me of being a bit of a, you know, a black-hearted individual, but, you know, this heart has been softened by love's young dream that is flowering here in Wolverhampton between the Rockstar and his beautiful young Belle over there. Even though she looks like she's sharing Susie and the Banshee's hairdresser.
Looks like she might be in the Addams family. Russian leg sweep from Spud.
Hey, listen, security lady, you want to listen to what Bradshaw's saying here. You want to eject him from the building. He's getting on my wick.
You notice how she's ignoring you. I think she's out of your league.
She's focusing on the job. I've told you she has the hots for me. You know, we share many similarities. Obviously, the apparel, the eye apparel, very, very similar. And she has a similar stoic presence.
Eye apparel.
Not to mention, it looks like she's made some wristbands out of my gloves. And left some over for Melanie's pants.
Oh, double stomp from Spud, meanwhile, as you're ogling the women at ringside. Here's a cover, he's got the leg through. It could be Ligero, but Ligero just out at 2.5.
I'm not ogling the women, I'm admiring them. They're like, you know, a fine woman is like a piece of art. There's nothing wrong with looking at art.
Have you noticed how young Spudetta over there won't leave the security guards within about two feet away? She's obviously a little bit scared of what might happen to her at ringside, as she quite rightly should be. She is basically just a fan who Spud seems to have adopted.
Spudetta.
But you don't know her name. I'd be surprised if she changed it by default. She seems to be a little bit obsessed with Rockstar Spud. It's a very close call. Which one of these two has used more hairspray tonight?
Melanie, I told you, you know. Look at that for a kick.
Ligero, meanwhile, going for the drop kick. Oh, he nearly got him, 2.5.
You know, we are allowing ourselves to get distracted by side issues and, you know, various paraphernalia. But, you know, this is a very, very important match in the flyweight title tournament here. You know, Ligero, it's just almost kicked the Rockstar, who's been shot down in a blaze of glory, and he kicks out.
Glory has not yet arrived for El Ligero. Hope still lives for Rockstar Spud. This crucial match in the flyweight title round robin. El Ligero is looking to finish it here. Rockstar Spud is flat out in the middle of the ring. Ligero is
40
on the
points. 40 points are beckoning here.
Spud,
first place in the flyweight tournament. No.
Spud takes Ligero off the top rope. Spud with a neck breaker.
Oh, the execution on that was flawless, and he hooks the leg and he still doesn't get him.
Just 2 for Spud. For a moment it looked like Ligero was putting the finishing touches on an impressive victory. Then just seconds later, Spud nearly winning the match. It's up and down, seesaw match. Just like we saw earlier between Singh and Storm. The quality of this flyweight title round-robin tournament has been phenomenal.
Everybody wants to be the FWA Flyweight Champion. And at this stage in the game, there's still 3 guys in it. These 2 in the ring and Johnny Storm. I think one of these 2 is surely going to be the hot favourite to win this match.
Go into the corner, Spud follows him in with the forearm. Very physical contest here. Drop kick by Spud quickly into the cover. Look at that, no wasted motion. Spud really wants this.
Oh, look at the way that Spud is sitting. His full weight, his posterior down across the chest of El Ligero, trying to add extra leverage to try and keep the Mexican sensation down on the mat, but still unable to do so.
Spud is lining up El Ligero for something. We saw him beat.
Setting up for the Spud gun, perhaps.
Spud goes to the ropes. A counter from Ligero. Ligero went for that cross body. And now they went both outside. Got tangled up in the ropes together. I think that the impact of Ligero's chest on Spud's ribs took the air out of both of them.
I think exhaustion has set in. The pace they injected into the last 5 minutes of this match, such as their desperation to win, definitely took its toll.
They kind of got tangled in the ropes and kind of crumpled to the floor, and they're both landing quite hard on the, look like the back of their head.
Wait a minute. What's Melanie up to?
Well, Spudina's not happy. Spud's back in. Referee was counting both men. Ligero, I don't think did Ligero not make it back in?
Clearly not. Spud, I think, beat the 10 count by 2 seconds. And look at that. Hey, just hang on a minute. Are we PG? Never quite sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match as a result of a count-out, Rockstar Spud.
So yeah, Ligero is counted out, which means he's eliminated from the tournament. Rockstar and Spud are a win, right? Only a count-out win. So that means he has 30 points. Jonny Storm has 20 points, which effectively makes the final match in the FWA Flyweight title tournament a decider.
For all the marbles.
If either Spud or Storm win that match by pinfall or submission, they have won the FWA Flyweight Championship.
Or because Spud has 30 and Storm has 20, Spud only needs to draw. Spud basically just needs to avoid defeat, and he's the Flyweight champion.
Spud getting a hug. It's like Sleepless in Seattle, isn't it?
It's more like, I don't know, Sleepless in Wolverhampton. At least I think if somebody's not going to get much sleep tonight, if you know what I mean. She's the luckiest girl in the West Midlands.
Well, Spud is busy celebrating his win. Ligero in the corner indicating he's beaten by just that much, and he's right. It could have gone either way. Two of the finest flyweights in Europe, proving exactly what they're all about. Ligero is offering a handshake now.
Well, isn't that sickeningly sporting? You just lost, you Mexican freak. No time for shaking his hand.
Well, Spud's thinking about it. Spud is... Oh, well. Is that a sign of respect? I don't know.
It's about as much as he's going to get, and it's about as much as he deserves.
I'm reliably being told that's what people do at rock concerts. Well, Spud doing an Ligero rebound. Spud doesn't give many opponents the time of day.
Ladies and gentlemen, unvictorious this evening, but let's hear it one more time for Ligero. However, your winner in the round robin tournament is the Rockstar Spud.
So Spud,
well, I worry about that. I worry about Spud. You know, being magnanimous, is that a chink of weakness in the Rockstar? Going into such a massive match against Jonny Storm, I don't like the look of that. Too much humanity was shown there. He should have kicked him in the head.
You're saying he's losing his edge, his Rockstar edge.
Well, he may be losing his edge, but at least he's still got a chance of winning the title, which is more than we can say for the UK luchador.
Ligero looking dejected as he well might be. He's out of contention. As far as the flyweight title's concerned, but always a good loser. Oh! I was going to say he's always a good sportsman, win or lose, but there's RJ Singh. Someone you can't say that of. Obviously, ongoing issues. We saw Singh just completely snap earlier when he was eliminated from championship contention here.
Well, I'll tell you something, you know, Martin Stone says that the war is something that the Resistance can't win, but this is a war that will never end, Dave.
Look at that.
It'll never end.
A hot wire last November, RJ Singh cut off the horns of Ligero with a saw. He's got some scissors here. Got some scissors, and he's trying to cut off those horns. Someone stop this. Spud is back. Spud is back. Spud is back. Oh, Spud making a save it.
What?
Wait, no,
wait.
This
is weakness. This is weakness.
RJ Singh had those. RJ Singh had those. Can we get some help out here? Get those people coming.
Did those citizens inadvertently go in Ligero's face, in his eye?
Even Singh's not sure what's happening here. I think Singh was obviously trying to disrespect there. Ligero cutting off those horns again, but Ligero. Whoa. Ligero's holding his eye. What? Ligero is wriggling out here, obviously in A lot of pain. Singh is protesting his innocence. Let's get those scissors away. Spud just put the
backstage.
Spud just put the scissors on our announce table. Let's get those.
Keep them for later.
Greg, there's a bit of blood on those scissors.
I'm sure it was an accident. I'm sure it was an accident, but even so.
Well, obviously, we'll try and keep you updated on what's going on over there with Ligero. Well, ladies and gentlemen, obviously a bit of a shocking turn of events here in terms of what's happened to Ligero. You saw what happened. We don't have any further information for you, obviously. It's a little bit of a dangerous situation. It sounds almost trivial given what looks like just happened there to turn our attention back to wrestling, but in this situation it certainly isn't, Greg, because tonight's main event is far from trivial. It really is, given what we heard earlier. A match with great implications, but a match also shrouded in mystery. We don't know who either Leroy Kincaide or Dave Moralez' partner is.
Well, this is it. It was meant to be Leroy Kincaide and a mystery partner against Martin Stone and Dave Moralez. You all saw Martin Stone on crutches. We don't know why that is. You all heard the announcement Doug Williams isn't here. We don't know why that is. I mean, I haven't got a clue what's going on here tonight. It's just all about Alex Shane out here, Robbie Brookside not here. Scissors in the eye and all sorts of strange things going on. I honestly can't predict what's going to happen next.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the main event of the evening. This is a tag team match set for one fall with an added stipulation. If Leroy Kincaide's team wins, he will receive a title shot at European Uprising on November 13th.
That's
However,
news to me.
It will not be against Martin Stone.
What?
The FWA World Heavyweight Championship belt will remain with the agenda. If Leroy Kincaide's team loses, he will not receive a title shot for a year. Introducing first.
Is that right and proper? The Stone can't defend the title just remains with the agenda.
The world title belongs to a person who's won it. It doesn't belong to a group. Martin Stone is the world heavyweight champion. If he can't defend the belt in the statutory time around, he needs to forfeit it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the team of Moralez. His tag team partner, Redman. They are going to the ring with the current FWA World Heavyweight Champion, the Thunder Martin Stone. They are the agenda.
Well, Stevie Aaron announcing Martin Stone as the current world heavyweight champion here in the FWA. Is that even true anymore? Like, apparently the belt now belongs to him and all his friends.
Where is the belt? He's not brought it out with him.
The four of us have an agenda.
Well, quite aside from what's happening with Martin Stone, there's a secondary story here, I guess, and it looks like it's going to be John who's partnering Dave Moralez tonight. As Martin Stone stands there with his crutch pacing up and down.
It's suddenly gone quite chilling in here, hasn't it, Dave? Very chilling piece of music indeed.
Stone is demanding Stevie Aaron walk over to him. I think he wants the microphone.
Well, I've got a microphone, so you're going to have to listen, so shut up.
Now, earlier I spoke about Alex Shane and the FWA and the entire resistance being losers, and that includes all of you. But I also spoke about dreams. Let me introduce you to someone, a true British wrestling legend, a man with 27 years experience. A man who made all of my dreams come true. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Drew McDonald.
Drew McDonald?
Oh my goodness.
Drew McDonald, a British wrestling legend, as Martin Stone rightly says, but nowadays he's the European talent scout for the world's largest wrestling promotion, Drew McDonald. Iestyn Rees is out here with him. Looks like McDonald is heading towards that seat that's been vacant all night.
Brookside seat, you mean?
Yeah. Well, presumably Brookside isn't taking it, but McDonald throwing away that reserved sign. And it looks like he's going to have a front row seat for this main event.
He's obviously here to scout for talent, I would guess, and I mean, he can do no worse than the two men in the ring.
And ladies and gentlemen, their opponents.
You know what time it is, right? It's your boy, King Done it like this, way back when or something like that, right? And the goal is the kid leading the resistance, Leroy
So Leroy Kincaide, the leader of the resistance, fired up, ready to go tonight in Wolverhampton at the biggest British wrestling event of the summer. At the moment, Greg, he is on his own. Who is Leroy Kincaid's tag team partner? I have the feeling we are imminently going to find out.
Well, let's face it, if this resistance is still as strong as it was at Art of War, there should be any number of FWA wrestlers in the back queuing up to be Leroy's partner, but there's nobody with him, Dave. Nobody is stepping up to the mark. Perhaps they are intimidated by the ringside presence of one Highlander from hell, Drew McDonald.
Yeah, from hell is right.
Maybe they don't want to embarrass themselves because they know they would never get signed to the world's #1 wrestling promotion, unlike Martin Stone did.
Kincaide wants a microphone here. We're going to find out now, I think.
I tell you what, over these last few months I've definitely learned a lesson, and that's where my loyalties lie. I mean, I learned a lesson from Bruce Magnus, but I tell you what, I've also learned this one lesson, my friends, and that is also the art of war. So I introduce you guys to my new partner, Doug Williams.
Doug Williams? No. Doug Williams is... What? but he looks like he has just swallowed a waffle.
Again, this battle is far from won, my friend.
Doug Williams, the former two-time British heavyweight champion, the longest reigning heavyweight champion in the FWA 11 years of its history, and now a global wrestling star who may tonight have changed the wrestling world forever, and now he's Leroy's tag partner. Well, it's not the match we thought we were going to get. But Redman and Moralez for the agenda. Leroy Kincaide and yes, Doug Williams for the resistance in the main event of Hope and Glory. Redman, one of the most scarily intense men in British wrestling. He's no slouch, no weaker substitute. As far as Martin Stone's concerned, I wouldn't be surprised if Redman was a world heavyweight champion in his own right sometime in the next couple of years, but well, apparently he's sort of a quarter of a champion now. Apparently the agenda is sharing the world heavyweight championship.
Is that really Doug Williams or is that a doppelganger?
It's like him to me.
Well, who knows? Judging in mind of your theories this evening, wild and crazy they may be. I'm totally at a loss. I don't.
Kincaide was about to bowl over Redman. Redman just getting out of the way in time. Well, earlier tonight, Greg, you told me to take everything at face value. When we heard Doug Williams wasn't here, you took it at face value. Am I right? Leroy Kincaide has pulled the wool over your eyes, just as I believe an international wrestling conspiracy may well be pulling the wool over everyone's eyes. Moralez offering a test of strength to Williams.
Listen, again, you just got to look for the simple explanations, okay? Doug Williams, like Leroy Kincaide, he says he's learnt the art of war. So him and Doug Williams hatch a plan where they get Patrick Lennon to get on the screen and give all this psycho babble just to try and basically put the agenda off the scent that Doug Williams was going to be here after all. Which means that it lulls them into a false sense of security and it gives Leroy Kincaide more of a chance of getting a title match at the next show. That's the only conspiracy that's going on here. Can you not see that? He said it himself. He's learned the art of war. Fair play to Leroy Kincaide and Doug Williams. That's fine. But there's no bigger picture going on.
So yeah, there's a conspiracy when it suits you, right? When it's Leroy Kincaide who's involved in a conspiracy, you're perfectly willing to believe it. Williams makes the tag. He actually managed to dominate Moralez for much of that exchange, which not many guys in the world can do. That shows you the calibre of Williams.
I'm giving Leroy Kincaide credit. You know, I gave Chris Travis credit earlier tonight for learning from his mistakes. Leroy Kincaide has learned from his mistakes. He realises that he has to play his cards close to his chest here. If this is a war he cannot win, he's determined to try and win it. And that means, you know, basically keeping the identity of his partner a secret and trying to make the agenda believe that Doug Williams wasn't here. It's a good plan, it works. But will it work well enough? Will they actually get the win they desire? Because if they don't, he gets no title shot for a year. You realise that, don't you?
Yeah, but if he does, we've heard it tonight, there will be a title shot. We don't know who it'll be against.
Stone and Rees, they've gone. They've gone. They were on the stage. Is Drew McDonald still here?
Yeah, Drew McDonald is still here. Looking like butter wouldn't melt in his mouth.
Well, like I said before, you know, if Drew McDonald, as I believe, is here tonight to scout for talent for the world's top wrestling promotion, he could do a lot worse than look at that. He'll have seen the smarts there of the human hate machine, Dave Moralez. He will see the wrestling cyborg put together from a farm in Devon, Joel Redman, a physical specimen that he has every single attribute that the world's largest wrestling company looks for. You know, this is their time to impress. This is their time to get what the agenda want, and that is a career across the pond.
Some of their actions recently, part of me thinks as good wrestlers as they are, good riddance. Go over there, hope Drew McDonald takes you with him.
Well, there's a man who's already got a career across the pond, Doug Williams. Yeah, he's back.
You know, I'm sure if Martin Stone does have a serious knee injury, that his new employers will be perfectly happy to kick him to the curb and take one of these guys instead. Yeah, you're quite right. Yeah, Stone's future employers are going to be hoping it's nothing serious, but you know, if he ends up getting addicted to painkillers or something, they can always just pretend they never even met him, right?
Listen, you've got to be careful what you're saying. You've got to be really, really careful what you're... Listen, I'm sorry, can we do something about that comment? Can we scratch that comment from the record?
Why?
I'll talk to Davis. Dave, you can't be saying that on air.
Why not? It's true, isn't it? Kincaide is taking a beating here from Moralez. And choked out is Kincaide. What are you scared of? Why can't you just occasionally speak the truth when it's blindingly obvious? A gag order, it sounds like.
Look at this, Joel Redman choking Leroy Kincaide right in front of Drew McDonald. Nick, what's his name? Brutus Magnus. Yes, that's the guy. Brutus Magnus was here on my last show, and he's talked about making friends with the right people. There was no doubt about it. The agenda have made friends with the right people. The right person is Drew McDonald, and when you're friends with the right people, then you become the right people. That's what Magnus said. Is that right? That's the truth. That's what he said. I heard him. Martin Stone is the right person. Joel Redman and Dave Moralez have got the opportunity to become the right people here tonight.
By what criteria is Martin Stone the right person?
That's probably why Doug's here. Of course, that's why Doug's here. He's having a tryout for Drew McDonald as well. That's why he's. Come on.
So it's a conspiracy now.
This conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy.
It is.
Doug's not part of the resistance. He's part of the agenda.
You're saying the same stuff I am. Because you believe in what you want to believe.
I get it now. Of course it is. God, I can't believe I'm so stupid. I didn't realise that before.
We still don't know where Stone and Rees have gone, and frankly, it's a little bit unnerving when they're not within your field of vision. Two men you can't trust as far as you can throw him as Moralez goes for a cover. 20+ Stone on top of the chest of Leroy Kincaide.
Hey, I'll tell you one guy, though, who's never going to get a job with the world's largest wrestling promotion. That's Leroy Kincaide. You talk about the story. You know the story about what happened. You don't know the story about what happened when Leroy Kincaide tried out for the world's largest wrestling promotion? Well, the guy in charge wouldn't give him the time of day.
Yeah, I've heard the rumours.
That's a fact. And I can say that because that's true.
Do you know why that is, in my view? Because Leroy Kincaide is a man who's a little bit unlike Martin Stone. Martin Stone, a guy who only cares about himself, looking after number one, more interested in that than showing any kind of moral leadership like Leroy Kincaide is. Actually, come to think of it, maybe Stone should get into politics ahead of the Senate seat going in Connecticut.
And then for the Kartel, I ask you the question, is Leroy Kincaide the leader of the resistance because he really does have moral fibre, or is it because he knows he has no chance of following Stone to America? That's the question I want asking. I want answering.
Yeah, it's remarkable what questions you don't want asking. As you say, Williams is now tagged into the match. Back in there, and Moralez is bailed to the outside. Moralez not used to being second best as he has been for much of these exchanges with Williams.
Well, this is I'm not going to take anything away from Doug Williams. I mean, X-Division champion in CNA, two-time former British heavyweight champion, the ambassador, possibly the greatest technical wrestler of the modern era in British wrestling. But what an opportunity for Moralez and Redman. They can beat Williams. If they can beat Williams, that's bound to impress Drew McDonald.
That's bound to impress Drew McDonald. It's a sycophant.
I'm just telling it like it is.
Well, I'm telling it like it is now. Referee's back is turned and Joel Redman is choking out Doug Williams. Kincaide is furious. Probably not doing his partner any favours. It's continuing to mean that Roberts is distracted. Just a one count. Williams kicking out.
And again, I'll go back to what I said earlier about Patrick Lemon. If there was a great big conspiracy, then why is Doug Williams here? Doug Williams surely would be afraid for his career, for his life. Are you telling me he's got the moral fortitude to stand up against these unseen forces?
All I'm saying is, it sounds like Williams was almost prevented from getting here, but he's managed to do it. He's managed to keep it a secret from everyone except Leroy Kincaide. Kincaide, obviously the only person in the whole building who knew Williams actually was here. Seems like this was all part of a ploy from Williams and Kincaide to make the agenda think that the opponent was going to be someone else. Moralez goes for the back to Williams, trying to counter into a sunset flip. Moralez sits down hard. Cover has got to be it's not.
Well, I tell you what, my colleagues at Power Slam magazine are here tonight for the first time covering an FWA event over the past year. I tell you what, they picked a fantastic event to cover with all these unbelievable, unpredictable things going on and tremendous action in the ring like that.
A lot of members of the media here. We've got guys from the film industry scouting for talent tonight. FWA starting to become a real presence in the entertainment industry.
Yeah, that gentleman sat at ringside, he's probably one of your international businessmen, is he? Well, he's not, he's a film director.
What are you going to do? You're just going to point out anyone who looks like they're not English and claim it's part of this conspiracy that you're trying to mock now. Williams is isolated in the corner.
Come on, boys, do it for Drew. Do it for Drew, Moralez.
Do it for Drew. Here's a yellow card for Moralez. Moralez and Redman now have both had yellow cards. That's the first of potential 3 strikes and you're out.
Yellow card.
Drew's watching, boys. Don't mess it up. Oh, Williams can't suplex the big bad Brummie from the Black Country, can he? Oh my word, he can!
That is unreal power, unreal strength from arguably the finest British wrestler of his generation. Unarguably, I think. Williams has represented this country like no other in the past few years.
Oh well, if you pardon the pun, the fortunes certainly changed there for Doug Williams. Do you even watch the promotion he wrestles for?
I just didn't signify it with a response. I don't know what's worse, the puns or that look of smugness on your face after you come up with one, like you said something revelatory. You're a living caricature, you are. Moralez, boot to the ribs of Williams.
Oh, look at that elbow. Tell you what, I've said before, he's a human hate machine and he hits hard. And I don't think Doug Williams gets hit that hard back in Florida.
Say this continues as it is.
Unless Mick Foley's trying to beat him to the front of the lunch queue.
It's a cheap shot that hundreds of internet fans have done many times before. I'm just thinking, what if the unthinkable does happen here? What if Moralez or Redman can get a pin on Williams or Kincaide? If they take out Kincaide from the equation, the leader of the Resistance can't have a world title shot for a year.
That's
Where
right.
does that leave the Resistance?
That's what it's all about, and Leroy will not have learned the art of war, and once again it will prove what Martin Stone has always said: this is a war the Resistance cannot win.
He said they couldn't win that 8-man tag at the Art of War as well, didn't he?
That was a mere battle. I'll tell you something, I'm impressed with how Joe Redman and Dave Moralez are cutting the ring off. They're keeping Doug Williams in their half of the ring. Leroy Kincaide, desperate, helpless on the ring apron. He can't go in or the referee will surely send him back. That will give them the opportunity to tag in and out, double team, use the rules, use the 5 count, and further punish the ambassador that is Doug Williams.
Elbow across the back of the head of Williams. That camel clutch gave me an eerie sense of deja vu. That was the move you saw RJ Singh doing on El Ligero earlier. Ligero obviously suffering potentially quite serious injury to his eye. We haven't had any updates on his condition other than that he was rushed immediately to hospital. Williams driven hard into the corner. Moralez driving that shoulder into those abdominal muscles. It's going to be the first time Moralez has caused an abdominal injury to someone in the FWA. Bubblegum, one of the most popular flyweights in the country, was forced to retire from active competition as a result of what happened at the hands of Moralez at Battle Line.
Moralez has received a red card, his final warning.
Red card for Moralez. He's on a final warning. You know what that means? If he's eliminated from the match, then Redman would have to do this 2-on-1 against Kincaide and Williams. That I'd pay to see.
Here comes Williams though. He's getting a second wind. And there's that elbow. Precisely placed under the chin by the TNA star that is Doug Williams.
Both men exhausted. Williams and Moralez. The resistance and the agenda. Both need tags in the worst possible way. Williams rolls through. Here comes Kincaide. Moralez didn't make the tag. Clothesline and another. Kincaide has pinned Moralez a couple of times and reached him under the spear. Will we be 3 for 3 tonight? Kincaide nips up. And the hip-hop sensation is proving tonight in Wolverhampton that resistance is not futile.
Well, he's definitely got Moralez and Redman on the run here. He needs to finish them off. Look at the power and strength of Kincaide. Now he's just fall-away slam on a 300-pound human hate machine.
Leroy Kincaide with inhuman power. Now what's he doing? Oh, Kincaide is shouting spiral tap. That patented finishing move. If the spear don't get you, the spiral tap will. Kincaide launches through the air. No. Kincaide missed.
Perhaps resistance is futile, Dave. Redman, what's he setting up for? Is he going to try and spear Leroy, the master of the spear? No, he's going to drop kick him in the chest, and what a drop kick from a physical specimen.
The Northern Lights suplex. Redman I think broke up his own pin. He's gone for a leg lock instead. Trying to force a submission.
Are you watching, McDonald? Are you watching? Hey, maybe he needs a commentator. I've heard those guys aren't that good.
How good do you think you are?
Better than them. I haven't got anybody shouting in my ear.
Got me shouting in your ear with good reason tonight.
Well, there is that.
Kincaide makes the ropes. That leg lock from Redman, perhaps designed to wear him down more than force a submission, but Kincaide exerting a lot of energy to force the break.
So impressed with Joel Redman, but Kincaide's tagged Williams.
Tell you, the continuity between Kincaide and Williams has been remarkable, considering they're not regular tag partners. Williams obviously a very accomplished tag team wrestler over in the US, but even so, Kincaide has taken it to this like a duck to water. Look at these suplexes from Williams. Cover. Moralez is in to make the save, and I think he needed to.
Kincaide's down here, right next to our commentary table, knocked off the apron. And that means that Moralez has got Williams at his mercy.
He may be going for that rolling thunder, and Redman is on the top. What's this about? Moralez in head first into Redman's crotch, it looked like. It's a side suplex on Moralez from Williams, and now Williams has Redman, and Redman inadvertently with a big splash on Moralez.
He rocket launched him right onto his own partner, and he's tagged in the leader of the resistance. And out goes Moralez.
Moralez is on the outside. Redman is helpless. Oh no, he's not. Redman saw him coming. He sent Kincaide to the outside. Kincaide landed on his feet. Kincaide landed on his feet.
Well, it's cat-like agility from Leroy. But he needs to regroup and regroup quickly. Oh, and he didn't. A rush of blood to the head. And he paid the price.
Action all over the arena here in the ring. It's Williams and Redman. Williams, over that chaos theory, he's got it, a rolling German suplex. Williams over the top.
lands on Moralez.
I've not seen Doug Williams fly like that. Not since he's been at Disney World.
The look on Redman's eyes, he's right in front of us. He doesn't seem to know where he is. Kincaide knows where he is. Kincaide knows where he is. Redman is clueless, but Kincaide is in the opposite corner.
But Kincaide looks groggy too.
Spear!
Oh, not enough.
Spear by Kincaide! Kincaide, cover, 2, 3, and Kincaide wins again! Kincaide wins again!
The team of Doug Williams are picking up the title shot, Leroy Kincaide!
Leroy Kincaide has speared and pinned Martin Stone. He has speared and pinned Dave Moralez on 2 occasions, and now he has speared and pinned Joel Redman. A message to the agenda sent tonight. You set him up, and Leroy Kincaide will knock him down. And you know what this means, Greg? November 13th, the biggest show in FWA history, European Uprising, and Leroy Kincaide will get the rematch he deserves for the FWA World Heavyweight Championship.
Just one moment, Bradshaw. Doug Williams has got a microphone. Maybe we'll finally hear him actually speak for himself.
Well, I believe that's one agenda well and truly over with. Listen, I'm going to give you all the cliched lines now about the amount of experience I have had everywhere I've been in the world, all the great wrestlers that I've wrestled. But I can tell you one thing about this guy right here. He's equally up there with the best of them, and he's for sure the best wrestler in the United Kingdom right now. No one else truly deserves the FWA Heavyweight Championship more than Leroy Kincaide.
Why is McDonald's out of his
So
seat?
let's have a round of applause for my partner here. That's not all. There's something else I wish to address. Earlier tonight, on the video screen, you saw a statement read out by my good friend, Daily Star journalist Patrick Lennon. A statement that he and I compiled together regarding conspiracy. But I thought you might like to hear the actual truth out of my own mouth.
The agenda don't want to hear it. Look at this. Williams was about to uncover something the agenda didn't want him to uncover. Moralez, Rees, Redman are stomping away. Was that a Drew McDonald's ordering? What is this now? Kincaide is exhausted. Look at the smile on McDonald's face. Senton splash into the ribs of Doug Williams. Oh, here comes the resistance! Here comes the resistance! The Kartel, Jonny, Storm, Marty, Scurll all out here. And now they run.
Well, I guess that's the wrestling equivalent of the concrete boots.
I dare any one of you to step out of that ring now and lay a finger on any one of these boys or on myself. Think about it, boys. You've all got dreams. I can turn your dreams into nightmares just like that. This agenda, gentlemen, goes a lot higher than you will ever realize.
What is that? A veiled threat from McDonald that if anyone hits him, they'll never get a career in the US. That's what he's saying, isn't it?
It obviously wasn't very veiled because even you worked it out.
Hey, look who's back on the stage as well, by the way. Martin Stone back there with his crutch.
Hang on. Alex Shane is back. Alex Shane is... And look who's with him. Look who's with him.
Now I see it all now. Now I see it all. Drew McDonald, you of all people, mixing with this, mixing with Martin Stone, a wannabe WWE. No, Mark. I will tell you this right now. 13th of November. 13th of November at European Uprising. I'll tell you, and now you. Resistance is not futile. Resistance, my little wannabe friend, resistance is the future.
Robbie Brookside did show up. And look who was with him. Flash Barker, another former FWA British Heavyweight Champion.
Another wrestling legend. November the 13th for a European Uprising. We've heard from Robbie Brookside. And he's going to be there. And is Flash Barker going to be there with him? And why?
And who else is he going to bring with him?
Who else is he going to bring with him?
So many questions going into European Uprising.
And Leroy Kincaid's now going to get a shot at the title, but Martin Stone won't be the champion, but the title remains with the agenda.
Well, who are they going to feel? Is it going to be one of the other three, or is it going to be Drew McDonald's choice? We don't know who on earth is going to show up to defend the FWA World Heavyweight Championship. But we do know one thing, Greg, as we go up there tonight, Robbie Brookside has just issued a rallying cry that this country's wrestling industry has been needing to hear for 20 years, and the message he brings to our enemies is simple. Whatever your agenda, whoever you are, we will fight you. And on November the 13th, at European Uprising, there will be a resistance.